Namaste, beloved ones, and welcome to Shri and Kira Live. I am wisdom teacher Shri Ram Ka.
And I am Master Lady Kira Ra. And, beloved ones, in this moment right now, Shri and I are snuggled here in our little apartment. We've got our beverages, and we are in an extraordinary Renaissance moment. And there is so much to share that it's one of those snuggle in, get your beverage, get your pen, get your pencil, get whatever you take notes with, and really just prepare to dive in. And we want to remind all of you over at YouTube watching us at Official Shri and Kira over there at YouTube that your comments matter, your questions matter. So we're going to be going through a lot of things today that most likely are going to inspire a lot of questions. Feel free to put them in. Jess is right there in that chat with you. And we are going to be really actively weaving all of that into today's experience, because this Sunday service is unlike any other. And because of that, why don't we center ourselves? And Shri, I'm going to ask you to kind of bring us all together today in a beautiful centering experience.
So, beloved ones, as we connect with the truth of our being, inviting you to bring a hand to your heart, and two hands is also good. Let's breathe quietly together for a moment, following the breath inward to your heart center. As you relax into present time, on the inhale, think Ave, a salute to the divine. And on the exhale, make an audible sigh, releasing all need to control. Inhaling the divine, continuing to enjoy that flow at your own pace. We are connected. Beloved ones, we welcome you. It's important that we always remember that the essence of our being is our soul, and that our mastery presence, that soul's essence, is always available to nourish, to guide, and to heal.
To nourish, to guide, and to heal. Shri, what a beautiful way to start today. And if you were with us yesterday, you may already know that today is day 2 of this extraordinary 21-day mastery ascension experience moment for humanity. Now, Shri and I are shepherding this for those of you that have been saying yes, that were with us yesterday, that will be. Remember, at 5 o'clock every night, you're going to 5 o'clock Eastern time, check your inbox. You're going to be receiving all of the information, moving up and preparing you for next Saturday, when we will gather in meeting format for all of you that are registered for this journey with us. And Shri and I will offer you the consecration of the first arcana. This is powerful. This is part of the Renaissance, because we are at a moment that is so challenging that I spent the past 48 hours trying to figure out how to explain this in a way that would be like, put it in graphic representation. So that's what we're going to do. So I've got my beverage. Let's look at our little, I'm going to show you, how did we arrive here? And why is this an Ascension Renaissance? Why is October that important? And so, Shri, the first thing that I'd like you to show is this right there. So what we first want to remember is that 2022 is the sea of neutrality. 2022 is the first time ever that we have been able to go beyond where we have been before. And this is important because as you bring your hand to your heart, as Shri was just leading us all through that gorgeous opening, we are even in this moment one breath more than we have ever been before. And the reason that I brought this up, and this is all in that 2022 up-level calendar, which you can still get, and it's really good to hold on to, is to see right there the Merkaba of self-ascension, the inner golden pyramid. Now, when this experience, when 2022, when this calendar, most certainly, when the up-level energies that were invited to be shared with the world came through, building the pyramid of peace was far from our mind. It wasn't even in our reality in any form or shape. Yet you look at that golden pyramid in the aspect ratio of that beautiful, higher aspect. And it was 2022 as the unified field of the energy with the co-creative power and momentum. It was those three. And if you look down at the bottom on this page, you see in yellow where it says 2022 brilliantly weaves together the energy, momentum, and co-creative power of the Merkaba of the individual. Breathe that in. The co-creative power of the Merkaba of the individual as, what's that word? Commanded through service in motion. Now, Shri, I want you to show us the October calendar. So we have been building up to this all year long. We have been moving through this. And now you can close that too, because we won't need it again. Now, if you look at October, what is the first thing it says up top? That the mastery activation is yours to command. October is the month. This is why that what is happening on the planet is so important right now, because 2022 has been all about the pyramid. It has been all about building it. We never in our wildest dreams thought that the law of instantaneous manifestation would say, and by the way, bring it into reality. Yes. Have hundreds of people a weekend showing up, right? I mean, it's just extraordinary what it's doing here. But if you gaze at the October 2022 calendar right now, this mastery activation is yours to command. I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to stop the share for a minute. I'm kind of freaking out because the mastery activation that is ours to command in this field of potentiality right now is literally the pyramid of peace.
Yes.
Literally, we are able to, and through the consecration, which was a miracle, that consecration brought together a total of 4 different tribes that normally would have, not only did we have 4 different tribes, we had competing people running for mayor show up as a surprise.
Political
everybody was like, oh, this is a PR dream, right? So everybody was jumping in. And yet, we sustained that consecration till 1 o'clock in the morning. There was dancing, there was music, there was laughter, there was camaraderie. And the energy in the pyramid is so palpable that we've had young children in there dancing and singing, God is here. Miracles are happening. So when we look at this year, when we look at what's happening in October, when we look at that this is ours to command, the question is, as we have been building to October, and as today, right now, October 2, that Mercury retrograde releases. Now we're still in that post phase, but that energy is releasing, saying, okay, what do you see? Now, what do you see? You're on the other side. Remember, this has been a really all-encompassing retrograde. I mean, we're still going to be in the post phase through most of this month. But that moment of release is here today. And in this release, it's let it be extraordinary. Remember heaven or hell? Let it be extraordinary. Let it be extraordinary. And I want to jump immediately to the AN. Can we put that up, Sri?
Absolutely.
All right.
Let's find it here.
There it is, hiding out. All right. So the reason we're jumping to the Ascended Numerology for October is pyramids again. Right? Pyramids again. And today, and if you were with us yesterday, we talked about how exciting today is, because that's why you hear all the enthusiasm in us. Today, October 2, 2022, that Mercury retrograde completes in the energy of infinite presence, in the energy of the 5, in the energy of the truth. Today is the day that the truth begins to really be revealed, that those that have closed their eyes intentionally can no longer keep them closed, because as you gaze at the wheel, if you look at the 7, that goes to the infinite, which is October 2022. This entire month leaves us in the infinite presence of the 7, where right now we came crashing back in to form that pyramid that gives us that infinite presence, and it sustains the overarching energy of the year, which is the 6. Imagine if that 5 and 7, and we've been talking about this all year long, how every single month this year is being really ruled by those full moons, right? I mean, really ruled by the full moons. Well, it's like that 7 and that 5, and we've talked about it's that beautiful bell, right? It's like with every up level, it's like you're in the middle of that huge bell and it's just reverberating. Well, that's what the 5 and the 7 are doing to the annual, to the year. So where does that take us right now? Someplace very unique and very special. And I was absolutely blown out of my mind to be able to even put this together and share it with you. But what you're gazing at on the left-hand side, this is what just happened in September. So on the left, what happened was that Merkaba of Self-Ascension, that 2022 Sea of Neutrality that was birthed through that energy and momentum and that co-creation, through what just happened at the September equinox, we have not only birthed and sustained the Sea of Neutrality, but if you look at the left there, that is the Merkaba of Self-Ascension, where every single one of the chakras has had the capacity to transcend. Your first chakra moves from the need for safety to the knowing of peace. From the desires of sex, from a density experience to the experience of love in all potentialities. From the need to have power over to the gift of the joy of, which then brings that ascended heart, truth emerges, and there we are. And when we look at 2023, because we are right now, October 1, holding open, I want you to look right here. That is, of course, the very famous relief from Telemarna, which is where we're going. These are the 19 cosmic rays of activation. And if you look at our pyramid,
yes,
that was just built, kind of looks like a key and a lock to me.
It sort of
what do you guys think? Put it in the chat. How are you feeling looking at this? And this is why 2023 is the open eye of the storm. And you notice that all of those rays coming out of that central sun, when we bring the pyramid at the higher aspect ratio into that, it calls forward a rainbow ignition, a remembrance, a knowing. And this is, I think, Shri, so important to honor as we talk and move into where consciousness is going, how this Sea of Neutrality, in order to sustain a month, and this October month right now, Shri and I were called to offer this, the arcanes that we have been working with for 20 years, because your divine mastery presence right now knows that you're in a moment of rapid up level, that it's a now or never moment. And so it's now or never. And if you're going to do it, then be with us. There's still enough time. Go to ShriandKira.com. This is our gift to you, but you've got to register and be with us every day, starting now.
So, wow, so many things are converging.
Yeah, maybe we should take a breath first.
Yeah. And I want to take a breath and then bring us back to highlight a couple of the things that you've shared, because they're really important. So let's take a moment, say, okay, I am integrating. So the first thing I want to help emphasize is that the opportunity to participate in the Egyptian Ascension Secrets 21-day process is still open. However, you need to move quickly and say yes.
Day 2, and you've got to watch day 2. And yesterday it was an hour-and-a-half opening ceremony that you need to watch, and you'll get the video of it. That's why you need to get back in, get in now.
So just for those of you that are going, maybe I need to be there. If you have that, even that inclination, follow it, because we are dismissible voice, that little subtle voice inside that's so easy to override, is in fact the voice of purity that is so often overridden by the personality and the distractions of the outer world. When that little dismissible voice gives you a nudge, pay attention. So that said, shriandkira.com, you'll find the link. You can go and enroll. There is no cost. You do need to have a set of rods in order to maximize the value of this training. Now, the next thing I want to underscore or emphasize is the sea of neutrality.
Mm-hmm.
The sea of neutrality is the renaissance that is before us. We have been speaking to this for a year now, and it is essential that we begin to allow the mind of density, which is sitting right inside our heads and traveling with us every day, to be, it's time to take command of your own mind. So many people say, okay, yeah, I'm listening to my heart. However, the mind has not been brought into full alignment. And so bringing love to ourselves, bringing the heart into the energy of integration of all aspects of our being is the way that we resolve the distractions. So that pyramid, and Kira shared, it was so delightful. There was, we call them hovens, the young ones. There was a young person, what was he, 6 years old or
maybe 7-ish.
Skipping around the inside of the pyramid.
That adorable, joy-filled, youth-filled skipping of like, la.
And just sort of humming and chanting and singing that God is here.
Dios es aquí, Dios es aquí.
And I delight in that because that young being was reflecting the purity of the energy that is being transmitted. There is a reason that we call this the pyramid of peace. This is not a wish. This is a fact. The radiation, the energy emanation of the pyramid is one of unconditional peace, the peace that passeth understanding.
Yeah.
And this is understood through David Hawkins' work on his levels of consciousness as being above love. This is the peace that allows everything to exist. And so that's above 600 on his scale. And we're radiating at about 620 right now. And we've been guided to put some more resonators in there, and we're even going to go higher. So that's coming. It's exciting to see this because there is no other pyramid that I have seen on this planet that is radiating this level.
And let me tie this back into this moment in October too, because I think this is important to pay attention to, is that what is happening? Can we put that calendar right back up again? Or did I accidentally close it?
Well,
I might have minimized it.
Here.
I did. Oh, no, I didn't. Or nope. I did. My bad. All right. So while Shri gets that back up, my apologies, guys. What I want to share with you is that this is an extraordinary moment of commanding the light through the teacher, healer, mentor experience. The 2023 coming energy is going to be the wide open eye of the storm. And I've made you a graphic that I'm going to show you in just a moment. But as you reflect upon where we've already seen the Telemana connection and why we have to go to Egypt and why we're offering the Arcana this month, it's because the months ahead, starting November 1, this month right now is very much how do I describe it? It's the building of the fortress of your divine temple of self that will thrive and flourish through the seeing of the oneness and reclaiming mastery of 2023. This month of October really matters. And that's why, can we show the up-level calendar again, Shri?
Here we go.
And that's why I want to go back and just offer you one more second with this, because as we were talking about earlier, it's about the mastery activation that you have been going through the entire year. It is now yours to command, like the remembrance of, wait a minute, I am not a victim, abuser, or rescuer. I am the teacher, mentor, healer. And in so doing, I have been able to release the limiting beliefs, the habits of scarcity, and the doubt of the who I am as you are. This is that. And if you look, just kind of bring your eyes back And it's also a month of Wednesday, really profound Wednesday energy as well. But if you go all the way back, you notice, is this harmonic coming to you or coming through you? Are you a part of it or are you witnessing it? And if you look at it, you are part of the infinite flow of it, as are all. Everything is reshaping around you because the world itself is reshaping through the experience of this month. And you'll also notice very quickly, we're not going to talk about this more today, Mercury retrograde completing today, full visioning moon next Monday, and we're going to talk about 1010 and what we're initiating next week in a moment. Mercury retrograde post phase ends on the 20th, and we have a solar eclipse illuminated new moon. I mean, could there be any more power, all in this energy of the pyramid turning out to be what will have been the greatest stabilizer of this year, which is what we had talked about from day one, that it was this golden pyramid of light that would illuminate 2022. We just never dreamed. And this is the blessing of the law of instantaneous manifestation and letting go of limiting beliefs, because it'll be bigger than you would have ever possibly dreamed of. We never saw this one coming, guys.
It's exceeding any mental projections,
because
and
it's so bad.
expectations.
And that pyramid was built in 99 days. So take a breath of that.
Yeah.
Right. All right.
Yeah. And so one of the things that I'm also witnessing that I want to call to your attention is that when we offer a creation into the shared experience, that creation resonates and touches the very fabric of our shared reality.
Yes.
And when that creation is resonating at this frequency of divine connection and peace, the impact on our shared experience is far more tangible. Imagine when there are 12 of these around the world.
And imagine the harmonic of October right now as the experience of humanity, knowing the potentiality right now is yours to command everything that you've been building this year, everything that you've been bringing in. October is your month to go.
All right, before we move on, we have a few sharings that always be fun to spotlight.
All
here.
right.
And Angel Light Therapy says, wow,
Hi,
that
sweetheart.
pyramid does fit in like a key.
Doesn't
referring to the
it?
drawing.
I was shocked. I was really shocked. And I'm ecstatic that part of the journey, and we have to be there June 1. And I'm going to show you why. We're going to end up there. We're actually going to go there.
Yeah. And there's some wonderful greetings and blessings about how all this seems to be fitting together. And then Donna returns with, the pyramid of peace is so powerful that I am still feeling the energy of spiraling, and I have been home for a day now.
Yeah.
She was here.
And you know what I love is you're becoming the rods, right? You know, right? The Egyptian healing rods, for all these years, because we weren't living with the pyramid, we really didn't have an opportunity. And I also think it was the bamboo, guys. I really think the bamboo was magic. And there's just something about this pyramid that it helped me certainly see that I had the rods backwards, that it's not that the rods are conditioned in the pyramids. It's that the rods become pyramids. And so you're becoming that pyramid energy. And so imagine, we had over 400 people last weekend. We're having at least a couple hundred here again this weekend. Imagine how many of them they're touching. Imagine the potency of just the first one. And so it brings us to the magic that's happening right now. And speaking of magic, we want you to kind of, bring your hands back to your heart, because here we are in October 1 again. And we're saying, okay, all of you divine masters, let us teach you the arcana. Start learning. This is why every day at 5 o'clock, you're getting those emails that will have very specific practices that you need to do every single day to prepare for next Saturday. We're going to be live together every Saturday in meeting style so that we can see everybody eye to eye and really make sure these attunements are happening properly and work with you personally. Do it. These 21 days, how many beautiful ones are ready to remember? Just like the ripple effect of our singular pyramid, imagine when we come together over these 21 days, imagine that ripple effect. Because the 2023 predictions have also clearly shared with us, and it was in the video yesterday, if you were with us yesterday, that the rising energy of technology that seeks to shortcut enlightenment is actually calling forward an addiction energy that will take humanity backwards.
Yep.
It will be a quick feel that will have long-term ramifications. And this is another reason why Sri and I are here right now saying it is important to remember you don't need electricity to be. You are the 0-point generator. Everything you need to do all the things, all the levitation, all of it, it's in you.
Yes.
You just have to be willing to do the honest work. And that when you start looking at the tech shortcuts as being the way, that is when we have lost consciousness in this potentiality. And that was the only warning sign, if there was to be a warning sign for 2023. And it's very well funded. It's very well funded instant enlightenment in a jar. And it's really what it is, guys. And it's going to do so much damage in the world of consciousness that's why Sri and I are here saying, help us help more people find this channel, help more people do this work, because it's your time to remember that you are the master. You're the one. And when we come together, I am here as a sea of neutrality, miracles happen. So we want to take you on a little quick 4-minute journey. And it's a miracle that happened on October 1 when Sri and I were saying, yes, this is the moment. We were called to revisit the Valley of the Kings that initiated over a year ago, started reminding us and calling in that this potentiality, should it come this way, would absolutely require the reconnection of this Valley of the Kings with the Valley of the Kings in Egypt at a very specific moment.
So this is a wonderful short video that'll give you some glimpses of beauty and connection and unexplained energies that you can enjoy.
4 minutes.
All right.
We'll see you on the flip.
Hang on a second. Let me click on this, and here we go. It should be up in front and center. Enjoy.
Welcome, everyone. As you can see, this is our upper border at Tosa Blue Mountain. And one of the stark things you immediately see is forestation, deforestation. And this is why we're trying to eventually, and look up, just look at all the condors coming to greet us. They have been flying so close to us, but we know they're going with us to the Valley of the Kings. And as we're getting ready to ascend, I'm going to show you, we are on right now, you see all these stones? This is an original Incan road. It is the real thing. It is still our public road. That's why it's our land barrier. I can walk this road into the town of Dug Dug, and Sri and I showed you the entrance of that trail in our Cholita film. Welcome to the Valley of the Kings, everyone. And there's just more here than we could ever begin to share. And the only way to really share this is to come and experience it. Let us bring you here. And the Valley of the Kings, the first time I came here, I had so many clear visions of when this temple was here. I had visions of the moment of that the blast happened, that the laser came in. I had moments of that moment, the initial ascension energy of knowing that this moment would come. And it was a little over a year ago when Sri and I first came out. You can even see all the holes and that. I mean, there's so much history here just waiting for us to say yes to again. And at the top, I don't know if our camera can get it, there's a stone circle temple up here. You can only see the very tops of the stones. It's very hard to get from here. We've yet to make it all the way up there. That's about the only land that has been offered to us so far, potentially to preserve and protect. But this is another reason why we're going to Egypt. Because whatever happened here, whatever the story is, whatever the codes are that have called us here and have ignited this Valley of the Kings is exactly why we're going to Egypt. Because when I first walked in here, it was just like the first time I touched toes at Blue Mountain. In 1 second, I saw it. And in 1 second, I was simultaneously in Egypt, Sularia, Tulea, Gaia. This valley holds a secret, and we're exploring more of it. But the keys to that secret, we have to go claim, and they're sitting in the Valley of the Kings. So if your heart's calling, come join us. This was the temple right up there. And you can see, look at this. So guys, Jess and I were just sitting here on these incredible stones in the middle of the Valley of the Kings and really communicating and receiving incredible messages when I looked up to the right. And if you look way up on the hill, Jess has been zooming in, you see that huge stone formation there. Well, the first thing I want to share with you is I honestly don't remember seeing that the last time I was here. And I'm sure it was here. I just wasn't ready to see it. But as I'm gazing at it right now, I keep hearing throne room, and I'm teleporting between here and the Valley of the Kings again. They're showing me, I'm not going to say which throne room. I'll just say for those of you that are joining us in Egypt, remember this. And Jess and I are not going to go up here today because I'm hearing to wait, and those that are meant to go there first will be with us, and we're probably going to go next week maybe, or soon enough. But we wanted to share this with you today because, again, we're in the Valley of the Kings receiving even more messages, and we know you are too. So breathe, receive, and be. Breathe. I hope you're breathing that air. You know, that, Sri, I always remember that every time we go up, that's like about 9,000 heading up. There's a lot of false summits up there. You can go all the way up to about 12,000 behind our house if you want to. And you get the joy energy.
Yeah.
And I was sharing with Sri, I was smelling pure ozone. I don't remember the last time I was just walking, smelling pure ozone. I mean, just this extraordinary purity of air. It was really quite an extraordinary moment in the Valley of the Kings, and I'm very eager to get to Egypt in June.
Absolutely. And I was really enjoying connecting with that energy. It just, my heart expands. I feel so privileged to be living here.
Yeah.
And one of the things I want to point out for those of you that may have read some of Zecharia Sitchin's work.
He was right.
He was right.
We have proof.
We have absolute the stones, evidence of the laser wars. There are glyphs that match those in Syria and Sumner, and the evidence of what the civilization before the civilization and what was going on is here. Yeah. This is million-year-old stuff.
It really is.
Once we begin to wipe the dust of density from our eyes, all of a sudden, even the camera captures that which was hidden from everyday sight.
Well, and you know, Sri, that brings us back to what's happening right now. And I want to give you guys another share, because this was part of Kira Ra doing her best to help you experience and understand really what's happening. And this is what's going on. I'm going to see if I can make this slide a little bigger for you guys, just really more for me to be able to read it. There you go. And here's what's happening is that 2023 is literally, I mean, literally the unification of the Upper and Lower Egypt. And what does that mean? It means, and Sri and I first started talking about this. We first started holding workshops about this way back in 2010. We started talking about the unification, that the unification of Upper and Lower Egypt is the divine mastery presence of ascended form into this body. It is the ability. This is why the pharaohs were considered to be gods, merely because they had mastered the yoga of self-ascension. They were able to consciously maintain their higher mastery presence into this form. You do not have to die to ascend. It has been upside down. It's like everything else during Kali Yuga. It's been looked at in a reflection mirror. So 2023, what you are gazing at is actually the energy flows of 2023. And the calendar will be out by the end of November this year. And if you look at the background, because you're going to be seeing this a lot in a lot of different ways, you notice all the overlays of code. There's a lot of code. There's going to be a lot of interference coming from what appears to be slick tech, because everyone has been tech conditioned enough that if you can get a shortcut and you can feel good and you can touch a realm, then that's going to happen. And this is something to be very, 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 very aware of as you ascend and hold divine mastery consciousness. You will need less and less. I can't use a cell phone. I blow them up. I barely can use computers. The key is to notice how much electricity you're allowing around you versus inviting more in the name of a quick fix of ascension. And so what you're gazing at here is that open eye of the storm of 2023. It's all about the pyramid and the pyramid and the pyramid and the pyramid and the pyramid, the eternal one within the one within the one within the one. And then this concentric, you see that beautiful blue violet-y spiral there, but you see what's coming out from that. If you look to the right, you really get more of an idea of the gradient. It's this harmonic, because everything inside here is the sea of neutrality. But you see what the sea of neutrality is going to be navigating. And this is why the storm is brewing outside of that, where the harmonic is. And so as you read down at the bottom, 2023 ignites 3 spirals of potentiality as the continual spin of conscious creation. So what that means is that we're going to have 3 separate areas of potentiality, which is going to be wild to watch these come together. So the only way you can navigate this is if you understand concentric dimensionality, which thank goodness we went through in 2021. Which is another reason why to keep these calendars, right? Go back and look at that. So these spirals, and you see where they are? You see where they are? These are the spirals that are coming in around the pyramid. That central open eye pyramid's already here. But these other 3 spirals are going to be bringing in this pyramid around that pyramid. And the only way you're going to navigate this is to stay all the way in the middle, where you see you have the sun as that little white spot inside of the moon as the open chalice sitting inside the circle of creation. And so when you look at that, all 3 of these spirals are going to align with this linear world. So the power of all 3, even though they won't reopen individually, the power of all 3 will be felt in each cycle. So you're going to have a January through April spiral, a May through August spiral, which is the one where it is the most dangerous time for the planet, which is why we must be in Egypt June 1. It's just such a we must be in Egypt June 1 so that we can be back here at Tosa Blue Mountain for June 21. September, October, November, December will be spiral 3. Now remember, together, these spirals sustain the open eye in the center of the expansion of all consciousness, but that eye and that energy is going to be like whipping these out like little tornadoes. And what they are is the invitation to see far beyond that, which is doing its best to limit the potentiality of this moment. It's literally the most beautiful blessing, but there's a catch. You got to say yes to opening beyond and the acceptance of the divine master into form will just surprise and delight.
Let's take a breath. I'm open to being surprised and delighted.
Yeah, I like that.
You know, it's an amazing time to be alive. And one of the things that I want to remind each of you is that the opportunity to achieve enlightenment, to claim to enlightenment, to radiate your true mastery, the opportunity to be enlightened has never been more available and more easy on this planet than it is now. The key is humanity, and all of us have habits. and the habit of a pain-based reality, the habit of victim energy, the habit of whatever disempowerment is your favorite diversion.
The habit of the pain, right? Archangel Zadkiel.
Those habits
Yes.
condition your energy to create self-fulfilling prophecies or potentialities of repetitive patterning.
Yep. Yep.
And just for fun, I want to show you the.
This is important stuff, Sri. I'm so glad you're doing this.
We
can get rid of all that.
So many things on the screen.
There we are.
Okay, this particular graphic, there's more here than meets the eye. Now, what's running up at the center is David Hawkins' work about having cataloged through thousands of tests the levels of consciousness. What's on the left is the work that Kira and I have brought forward discussing these zones of consciousness, the pyramid of spiritual awakening. And if you read on the left, we begin in density consciousness because we took a human birth. And then we start moving into a more activistic consciousness. We call it spiritual activism. As we begin to heal, we seek to bring healing to others, but we still have the ego operating, and that ego creates positionalities of some are better than others, etc. Don't need to go there today. What's really brilliant and beautiful is to recognize the moment we begin to open to the ascension of our truth, meaning our authentic beingness. We call it ascension awareness. And that really gets rolling in the 400s and moves into the 500s on Hawkins scale. Take a look over to the right side of this graphic at the qualities of experience associated with those levels of consciousness.
Yeah.
And so when we start looking, when we hit the 400s, we're working with higher principles. We're understanding each other. We're creating space for more than one person to exist on the planet. And we are moving into the energy of love and gratitude and joy. And take a look at 600, peace. Now, this is the peace that is the fabric of unconditional love that allows the discord to dance, because the peace is in divine communion, knowing that it will unravel over time, that we will return to essence over time.
This is the peace that passeth all understanding, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, just for fun, because our brains have occasionally pick up news clips on the internet, etc. Take a look at the qualities associated with density consciousness. Look down on the bottom right. Now, every one of those words represents states of consciousness that I know we've all touched because we grew through this.
Right.
We came to Earth to have the experience of friction and joy, etc. But take a look at shame, guilt, apathy, grief, and fear. When a person is enveloped by or drowning in those qualities, they cannot discern the difference between good and evil, right or wrong, life enhancing or life diminishing. And I'm offering those polarities because a person that is deeply in fear will buy anything that seems like it'll stop the fear. They'll give themselves away.
When a person is afraid, they will give away their power.
Exactly.
And when a person is terrified, they will give away their soul. And I think what's important as you're all looking at this right now is to remember that through the collapse of the fourth dimension, we have had a rise in the fear dimension. And I think this is really potent, Sri, because the line that gets you out of the ability to even distinguish is that it's that desire. And sometimes that desire brings with it great anger.
Yeah.
And this is important because many right now are getting trapped by their anger and pride. And they have the desire, they're lifting, they see it, they're moving. But I love how there's like that red line. The red line, because that desire, anger, pride becomes a self-fulfilling gift to victim consciousness.
And therein is a spin cycle of repetitive suffering.
Yes.
And when
unnecessary.
it's not required, but because you are
once you know it. I mean, it's necessary till you grow through it.
And so when we hit 200 on Hawkins scale, we're experiencing courage. We're beginning to trust life more. We move into more optimistic energies, and all of those are uplifting.
Well, and Shri, I want to look here because when you look at this also, it takes a lot of courage. And I like right above your red line, it takes a lot of courage to have the aha moment that you are the one that has imploded all the things around you. Because to break through desire, anger, and pride gives you the courage to trust. It gives you the courage to look in the mirror. And that's why spiritual activism is so profound.
Yes.
But notice that as you grow through spiritual activism, the gift of it is it arrives you into the forgiveness of the activism itself, which breaks you free to the understanding, because the left brain relaxes and makes way for the ascended presence. I mean, it's so beautiful, Shri, what you've done.
There's just so much there.
Woo, all in his new book.
Yes. and here's one of the things, so many beautiful traditions talk about the power of forgiveness.
Right.
Let's bring the Yoga of Self-Ascension on this. Forgiveness is the first step to multidimensional consciousness.
Period. End of story.
When we truly can forgive something, we have lifted our perspective to recognize that what has gone before was nothing more than a springboard for an expanded state of consciousness. And therein, the liberation begins. But we've got to have our steadfast commitment, our trust in the divine,
our focused awareness.
And our focused awareness to keep going, to anchor into the higher zones, the higher dimensions, to be able to serve creation more fully, more robustly. So the other thing that I kind of
I'm checking in to see if any of you have questions, because I see we've got some notifications sitting here. Go ahead.
The other thing that, this seems dead obvious. I got to put this back up for a second, but it's just part of our having a conversation today. Take a look at those qualities that are all down in the below 200, let alone sometimes in the 300s. What energy would sustain conflict in the outer world?
Well, this is why I think it's so important to look at your first line.
Yep.
The line where you can't even distinguish between life affirming and, or life enhancing and not, is that the fear dimension. And to look at that, really look at that. And then to look at desire, anger, and pride desire, anger, and pride are literally the victim triangle.
Yes.
And to look at that it really seeks to keep you stuck. And that I love, Shri, how it builds that when you move from courage, and because it takes courage to become activistic.
Yep.
Right. Because you're having to take a position outside of just self-centeredness. Right. Yet I like the 400. And the reason I like the 400 is that one of the things that you and I, if you were with us during Monday Mastery, which I hope you always are. And remember, we've got some changes coming up in our schedules we want to share with you. We taught that one of the keys when you're unlocking some of the ancient manuscripts, and these are some of the things we're going to be teaching you again on Saturday when we're with you and we offer you the first arcana, is that the word understand, anytime you see the word understand, anytime it's salt and peppered in an ancient text, it's actually a code word for the left brain to relax. Because when the left brain feels that it understands, it will offer you, the true you, a moment of peace to receive the divine presence and then to say yes to it. And that's the moment we're at, is that the divine presence is here. Are you ready to receive and say yes to it? So Shri, we do have some wonderful questions.
Let's tune in some of the community comments here.
All right.
And
so let's see.
We'll back up a little bit.
There's so many coming in. It keeps slipping back up. Okay. Let's, there we are. Okay.
So here's a comment. How can we learn to command our light with the most power?
Two ways, very quickly. The first one is Ave Sa breath, which we do when we open every show, which we teach all the time. Because in order to command with power, what you're really inviting is the law of instantaneous manifestation that builds pyramids in 99 days and brings things forward on the planet through steadfast commitment, focused awareness, complete trust. Steadfast commitment, focused awareness, complete trust, incorporated with the Ave Sa breath And if you have not downloaded our app, and it's free, go download our app, Spiritual Mastery with Shri and Kira, and also learn the Om breath that Shri teaches. It's free. It's part of the free app. Go grab it, download it, and then learn more about Mastery Mentorship. But those are two things you can do immediately because they help cleanse and purify your field. And the other is, one of my favorite comments from Archangel Zadkiel, and then I'm going to let Shri share, is to keep your eyes on the divine at all times. Just keep your eyes on the divine at all times. If you keep your eyes on the divine at all times, then everything, every interaction, every aspect will constantly reveal the highest aspect of the self. And you will no longer need to be commanding the power because you are the power in motion commanded.
You
And
get
so
to
it is.
Witness it rather than effort.
Multidimensional presence.
And I
Great
want
question.
to bring
Thank
your attention just to some vocabulary here.
Please.
Beautiful question. How can we learn to command our light with the most power?
Yeah.
There's a difference between power and force, or power and effort. Power is simply the resonant radiation of love and light.
There it is.
That's power. That's true.
That's
power.
real power.
Force represents a kinetic energy in density, meaning I must effort to push a little harder, break the barriers, etc. Well, it's training for focused awareness. It also is binding you into the densified level of consciousness that says, I must push. That's what force is all about. And usually it ends up in power over. We switch those words back and forth, but
There's
I
a lot
wanted
of
to add
force
that
in
discernment.
activism, right?
Yeah. So it's a beautiful thing to recognize that true power, the love and the light that is our divine nature, as we open the aperture, it's like a tent flap. As we open the aperture between all the density stuff and let the radiance shine, it calls to us that which is required to fulfill our mission, our reason for taking birth.
Yay.
It's like a bitty bitty homing beacon. Here it comes.
I love it. I love it.
All right. Let's see. Yvonne writes, is there a second pyramid being planned? Yes.
Well, there's 11 pyramids being planned, but what we need are collaborators. Shri and I cannot do this without collaborators. That means land and funds. We have all the engineering, all the crews. It just means collaborators. So let us all hold those collaborators.
So it begins by taking action. For those of you that are seeing the value and wanting to participate, head to shriandkira.com, take a look at the Pyramid Partner Program, and
be a pyramid partner
and
help
offer
us.
support, because 100% of that goes to serving humanity through this higher understanding of how energy influences health, wellness, and consciousness.
And the miracles are already happening. And remember, this one's not done. Help us finish the floor, get your, imagine having the blessing of you or your family or a loved one being remembered and consecrated in the floor of this pyramid. So help us finish the floor.
That's like a constant prayer.
We have the second level going in. There's a lot still happening. So help us help more.
All right. Rachel shares, I'm hearing music as Shri and Kira speak. I love it.
And is there a second pyramid being planned? So it's coming, guys. Let's get the first
one.
We're
gonna keep going.
New Year. For those of you that can't make it to Egypt, or if you want to come to New Year and Egypt, do it. But remember, New Year is filling up as well. New Year will be our first worldwide live private, just for the people that are here at New Year, ensoulment. We will not be open to the public that night. It will just be for those that are registered guests here. And of course, all of you on Zoom. This is going to be a powerful New Year. We are also bringing in new protocols. We will be finishing parts of the Arcana that we cannot do unless you are here in person. It's a huge New Year. So check that out as well. It's already posted up at the site. You want to be here for that as well.
One of the things I'm looking forward as that New Year's group comes together is inside the pyramid. The pyramid itself is radiating out, emanating out that saintly energy. It's as if a divine, an ascended master is just standing there. And as we begin to attune to that, we automatically begin to lift. Now, inside the pyramid, and there's some precise locations, the Egyptians called it the king's chamber and the queen's chamber. And there are some locations where there is a resonance of energy that is higher even than what is emanating on the external. And we will take you there at the end of the year. We're going to be circling, meditating, and gathering for group processes there. So I'm very excited about that.
Oh, yeah. I want to jump through. We're running out and we've got some really good questions here. So first one I want to go to is Diana. Hi, Diana. Hello to all beautiful light beings. Much love and light to you from Vienna, Austria. Hi, sweetheart. We actually have someone on the property that used to live in Vienna here. She actually lives here now. She's Hungarian originally. I have a question. All right. Which rods would you recommend for beginners? Good question. I mean, this is just like a rock solid question. The question is, as a beginner, what are you trying to achieve? So there's really 2 or 3 different sets that you could really consider. And one of the ways to get your personalized selection is get on the phone with Sue, send an email, make a Zoom time. Sue can help you with your personal set. But Sri, for most people,
Sure.
What would you say?
For most people, it really depends upon the level of energy you're carrying, the robustness of you, because you could be a beginner who already is holding a fair amount of energy, which means the crystal rods would be very compatible for you.
Yeah.
However, people whose physical bodies are a little bit infirm, who have had some challenges and are waking up to how they might be able to more holistically with consciousness improve their health and well-being, the rods Kant or the rods Quartz are perfect.
And children, especially ADD, ADHD, can't get them. They're amazing.
They balance the hemispheres.
One more question, because we have so many emails. So I'm sorry, everybody, that we can't. Hello, we love you all so much. But here's one, another one. So the question is, does tech extend to the inappropriate use of plant medicine too? And the answer is yes. It does. And it's so beautiful that you're mentioning that. When our beloved one, Darwin Rodriguez, was here from the Amazon, and I hope you all got to see him and those beloved grandmothers on the 22nd and throughout Peace Week, when you were able to see them, Darwin even said to us, he takes no medicine from any others because so much abuse of the medicine is happening. And that's important to know, that tech does involve, because there's this huge upswell in Insta, whereas here we have people here on San Pedro Journeys today because it's done in the way that is meant to be enhancing.
So one of the things about plant medicines that's important to remember is they're sensitive to the frequency of those that are participating,
and the preparer.
And if the medicine is prepared from a higher level of consciousness, meaning love and trust in the universe, we're actually imprinting that medicine or opening it up to the sunshine of its highest potential, versus a recreational use or a need to escape life, that kind of thing. Sure, people can oftentimes experiment with all kinds of things in an effort to find themselves, and there's nothing absolutely wrong with that.
It can be a enlightenment tech, but the addiction qualities, the misuse, and where these frequencies are taking people is truly not of the highest interest. And speaking of the highest interest, because Sri and I sincerely need to serve all, please make a note. As of right now, this show, and I mentioned to you, I was going to talk to you about Monday, 10/10. Make a note, Indigenous Peoples Day, 10/10. So much happening that day. Will be Monday Mastery Presence Day. That's when you're going to see us next. Our show will now be this every other Sunday. So we're going to be the first and third Sunday of the month is when you will receive Sri and Kira Live. And then the second and fourth Monday is when we'll see you on Mastery Monday. So we're looking forward to being with you every week.
We'll be available every week. However, we feel this synergizes and offers the greatest support for all.
Because we like going deep with those teachings on Mondays, and maybe we can spend a little more time, go a little more in depth. And so make a note, 10/10 is the next time we're going to be together. That's going to be next Monday, when we have an extraordinary 10/10 up-level experience for all of us. We love you so much. Get to SriandKira.com. If you are not part of the 21 days, be there today, 5 o'clock. Your first email arrives.
Let's take a breath. As we smile at each other, we know that all is truly well.